So today we're talking about how to tone your arms, and I'm going to give you guys a full breakdown on how to get those arms quote unquote toned and make sure that you're happy with those results. Hope you can learn something from today's video. Okay, so first off, when we talk about toned arms, we first have to understand what the hell toned is. So all toned muscle tone is just more muscle and less fat around the muscle, less fat covering it, right? The less body fat percentage you have, the less fat you have, the more striations, the more veins, the more things you'll be able to see, right? So when we talk about the arms here, when we talk about tone, right, whether that means definition, veins, whatever have you, right? If you want to see more toning throughout your arms, first things first, you're gonna have to make a nutrition commitment, and that means you're gonna have to be watching what you eat, making sure you eat the right stuff so that your body fat percentage is low enough to actually see the muscle there anyway. Awesome. Now that we understand that there's a nutritional commitment that's gonna come and that's gonna have to occur in order to tone up, right? Or be able to see the definition and stuff we want to see when talking about muscle tone. Now we are able to talk about more of the exercise stuff or the workout stuff we can do to help tone our arms. So we're eating right now, we're getting our body fat down there so we can see our muscle tone. So how do we do this? Well, tone means more muscle, less fat. So if we want to tone our arms, we have to build our muscle. So the first thing that we're going to do is actually target the triceps. Now you might have heard that the triceps take up 2/3 of the entire arm. This is true. The tricep is a big muscle composing of 3 heads to it. It's going to be bigger, therefore building more, not necessarily building more muscle, but helping to build bigger arms rather than if we just isolated and only train the biceps. Working both of them is probably a good idea, right? So we want to target that big muscle here and build that up. So with that being said, there's a few ways we can actually do this. The first is this exercise here, which is called the skull crusher. And the skull crusher is going to help because we're able to get our elbow back behind our body here, as you can see as I'm performing this in the video next to it. And what this does is it puts my elbow in full flexion here, right? So now my elbow is in flexion here and I'm able to extend over my head, fully activating that long head of the tricep there. Another good exercise you guys are going to see me here do now is called the tricep pushdown. You can use a bar or the rope with the 2 balls. I just happen to like the rope here, or you can even use tubing if you are not in a gym setting, right? If you're training at home, you can use tubing here. And it's where you grab it, as you see here, you grab the 2 handles of the rope here and you would pull down, right? This is also a good option, helping to train more of that lateral head. And finally, another great way that I like to train the triceps is I like to incorporate some sort of very heavy tricep exercise that I can use. So yes, we have the tricep pushdown, yes, we have the skull crusher, but one of my favorites, the close grip bench press, allows me to go a little heavier here. I could use a little heavier weight than what I would be able to if I was just extending the elbow on just a normal tricep pushdown or skull crusher. This allows me to put my arms in a better position to lift a little more weight, and because I can go heavier on this exercise, it's just one of my favorites to overload the triceps. Continuing now, we can actually finally make our way to the biceps, because now that we've covered the triceps, we understand that if we want to get toned arms, we also do have to train the biceps. So how do we train them? So the thing is, when training biceps, most people are very familiar with the traditional biceps curl. However, my only gripe with this is most people are training the curl wrong. Either they're training it wrong or they're not training it hard enough. When you train the biceps curl, it should look like this, okay? Yes, my form is intact, but I'm not just talking about my form with my elbows being tight to my sides or the fact that I'm properly squeezing at the top or whatever. It's the way down of the movement that matters. Stressing the eccentric. We know that we are twice as strong eccentrically than we are concentrically. The way up, concentrically is the way up, eccentrically is the way down. You can apply this to your tricep training as well. But with the biceps, why I like it especially is because it's just such an overlooked element to it. If you drop on a close grip bench press, the bar, you're gonna hit your chest. There's consequence there, so you have to almost slow it down, right? But on a bicep curl, it's too easy. There's no consequence. It's too easy just to drop the weight. There's no consequence necessarily for doing it, like on our close grip bench press, right? So the reason I think it's important is because it's such an overlooked aspect within our training, and I've talked about it before. I just made a whole Instagram post about it, about the importance of stressing the eccentric. So if you guys want to build up your arms, regardless if it's the triceps or the biceps, use this eccentric technique, okay? Make sure that you are not just dropping the weight and then letting your arms fall. Control that sucker down, all right? Moving on. And yes, we are moving on here to the final aspect. If you want toned arms, well, guess what? One of the most overlooked part of the arms, in my opinion, is the shoulder. Because we know we have the delt here, especially the side delt, that comes in here and acts as a V for the arm here, and it actually comes down and enters as this V. So what can we do if we want toned arms? We can build that part of the muscle up. This doesn't mean you should avoid your rear delt and your interior delt work. It just means if you want better looking arms, adding side delt work to it can absolutely help it. And how do we do that? Well, none other than my favorite, the side lateral raise. Again, stressing the eccentric here. This is an exercise that if you don't feel pain, you're not doing it right. Because there are so many ways, as you see me here, that we can make this exercise harder. You can either stress the eccentric, making sure you're cutting that weight down to a weight that you're not just shrugging the weight up, but that you're controlling it up and controlling it down, as you see here. I've even made a whole other video with my good buddy Ranger Matt going over how to get wider shoulders with this exercise and how most people are doing the exercise incorrectly anyway. Go check that video out if you guys have time. But the side lateral raise and the side delt here, the lateral delt, are gonna help us to get more toned and defined arms because the delt feeds right into the arm. It is literally, the delt comes up, it attaches all around here, and then the lateral delt comes down to what's called deltoid tuberosity on the humerus. So it literally feeds right into the arm. So if you want more toned arms, work your delts. And all in all, with that being said, everyone, we're gonna wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you learned something. I hope you implement all the techniques we talked about today, and I hope you get your nutrition set on point so you can get your arms toned and looking good as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for supporting me as always. Take care. Have a good rest of your day.